Welcome back to Curse, Code, and Crown, a live play Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition podcast featuring a fully original world and campaign. I am the wizard Cronox, observer of time. Curse, Code, and Crown features our regular voiceover artists and improvisers, Laura Elizabeth as the Orc Count Eta and Princess Gwendolyn, Tyler Hewitt as Makka Deathcap, and Ryan LaPlante as Duncan Danno, alongside our dungeon master, the incredible Tom McGee. So get ready for an adventure including thrills, chills, and hope for a brighter tomorrow. It's time for Curse, Code, and Crown!
Makka and Duncan, you have teleported into a cavern, knowing that your new companion Eta is in danger of some kind of assassination plot. Unfortunately, from the sound of her kind of vaguely heartbreaking plea for help, it would seem that plot is well underway. You luckily, using Makka's spore abilities and crazy stealth bonuses, you managed to evade the notice of the demon knights that are kind of blocking the entrance to the tunnel. Beyond them seems to be the battle of some sort. What do you do?
Tom, is the tunnel, does it have like an emergency door shut, or is it just open tunnel? They're just not going in?
It's open. They're a couple meters away from the entrance, kind of down slope. But no, there's no emergency door down. Duncan, based on your knowledge of tactics and everything else, given that these people are standing where they are, they kind of seem like if things get out of hand, it's their job to shut everything down. But it's not on full lockdown yet. In a gang fight, these would be the people whose job is to stand nearby and let the gang beating happen, while making sure no one intercedes or the person being beat up escapes.
Yeah, they're going to escape.
Duncan is having the same crisis of strategy that Ryan is having, which is, how involved are these dwarves? Because he could shoot one and then run past them and they'd come after him for vengeance. But he doesn't know if he should shoot. Wait, she said they were going to let the orc die, right? That one lady who was in charge?
Of the two... there
were a group in front of the door and she said to let the orc count die.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Duncan would like to shoot that orc or that dwarf with Mr. Bang double-barreled in the face while dashing by into the hallway.
And are you running away from the open room or into the open room?
Into wherever they were guarding. Like, I want the...
So you want to enter the chamber that Eta is in. Is that correct?
Yes. My goal is to essentially shoot the lead dwarf in the face for corruption, and then charge, hoping they'll follow me in to deal with me, and then I can just entangle them with the demons.
Okay. Ryan, go ahead and roll me a stealth check, please.
That is 29.
Fuck, man. Dem spores dough. Okay. So you walk up to the lead dwarf. You can tell, like, she's kind of hearing the echoing sounds of the fight occurring up in the chamber, with kind of grim determination. There's no glee in it. It's not like, ah, ha, 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 we'll just let this happen. It's I've been tasked with an unpleasant duty, but I will see it through. You place Mr. Bang against your forehead. I was going to say,
he'll raise Mr. Bang, and then realizing that he's stealthier than he thought, but he is like a smoky apparition person, he'll just say, the charge has carried us, and the sentence is death, and then he'll shoot her in the face.
All right. Go ahead and roll your damage.
Nice. And any surprise attack is an automatic crit.
Mm-hmm.
16 damage.
Well, your damage doesn't matter. You shot her in the face point blank and she wasn't expecting it. She's dead. It's just nice to roll dice. Both barrels go off. You blast. You just see half of her face implode. Her body kind of like jolts and just like falls to its knees. and over, and you sprint into a room full of demons and an orc countant. Makka, you see Duncan start to run. So this is before he's pulled the trigger. What are you doing during this?
I am casting or activating my ability Symbiotic Entity, which makes me much tougher and gives me some extra attack bonuses. I'm basically just getting ready for the inevitable scrap that we're about to head into.
Demon fight.
Yeah, hearing Ita call help, knowing that these guards are right here, just kind of putting 2 and 2 together, being like, I must prepare, and just activating some of his spores.
Great. The Mr. Bang goes off. You see the lead dwarf fall. I'm gonna roll. Here, 1 second. So half the dwarves break off and are like, look out, smoke demon, I guess. And they'll charge after Duncan. The other, so there were a total of 6. 1 is dead. We'll say 4 charge after Duncan, and 1 remains behind to continue to guard. So Makka, that's the one closest to you. The guard seems to be like quickly checking the sergeant, and obviously realizing that sergeant is very dead.
I'm going to run into the room. I'll leave that guy behind.
Great. So with the greatest speed a turtle can manage, you sprint into the room after Duncan. Gwen, you've seen some weird shit in your time. Some weird things have happened to you. Having both Duncan and Makka run through you is a tremendously off-putting experience. But you are thrilled to see them here. You're not sure what Duncan is wearing.
Makka.
But they're here, and that seems to be all that matters.
He's still in the Speedo?
He's in his party clothes, yeah.
I mean, admittedly, he's full of like shadows right now, but I feel like because you're incorporeal, you can kind of see through it. So he rushes through you. It's a tremendously strange sensation, and you actually you lose your focus for a minute as you're drifting, and you almost feel like you've slipped on something and fallen backward, and suddenly you feel tremendously heavy. And vaguely uncoordinated, and also like kind of somewhat crowded. And as you try and float forward, you hear a clinking of armor, and you realize you've fallen backward into the dead guard's armor.
Ooh. Can I get up?
You can.
Can I move it?
Roll me a Constitution save, please.
Oh shit! I gotta switch character sheets.
Excitement turns to fear instantly.
Constitution save. Ooh, 24.
Great. So here's the thing. You are used to moving around in a suit of armor that has no body inside it, and that is kind of magically linked together by your essence. There is a corpse in this one. So, and also the armor isn't like magically held together by things. So you're going to be at a bunch of disadvantages because you can control the armor somewhat, but there's also a big dead weight inside the armor. Also the armor isn't connected to each other. So it's kind of like if you can imagine, like if you just stacked armor on top of itself and then tried to walk that way, nothing's really connected. So you're going to be a tremendous disadvantage to movement. But you are weekended Burnings the sergeant around now. Also, unfortunately, you still have no voice because
I was just gonna ask, like,
you're just
can I
haunting
yell
a suit of armor.
Great.
Ita, you are leaping over and like you're not exactly a leaping person, but you know, desperate times, over an abandoned fast travel cart. It seems to be a few generations past, possibly from one of Kevin's ancestors. As the demon that you have run your analysis on kind of crashes an arm through it, an arm that is looking very corporeal. However, you can see a bat kind of flutter past your vision, and suddenly you hear a bang. And suddenly a bunch of demon knights come rushing in, weapons up. Duncan, and I mean, maybe this is a question for you, Tyler. Does attacking lose this effect?
No, it's up to me to maintain it. It's a concentration spell.
Okay.
It lasts 1 hour.
Yeah,
so as long as
it's a fun spell because I'm not invisible, I'm just more stealthy.
Yes, yeah, it just aids in stealth, and it makes you very, very difficult to track because you don't leave a trail.
I mean, it's lucky there was only one way forward, or else these poor dwarves would never find you. Excellent. So if I could have Ryan and Tyler roll initiative for Makka and Duncan. Laura, if you can roll initiative for Gwendolyn. I'll roll for the dwarves. It's party time.
I was playing double duty.
Oh, Gwen rolled a nat 1.
Nice.
That is very appropriate for what she's wearing.
Yeah, honestly.
Duncan's got a 14.
Okay.
12 for Makka.
All right. Cool beans. Makka, I'm going to give you a surprise round because you didn't stop to shoot someone in the face and you've just sort of rushed into this situation. Once again, to set the scene, large circular room. Demons are starting to spill in from all of the other entrances. There are 3 entrances. We'll say you guys came in through the west entrance. There's a north entrance and an east entrance. Demons are spilling in through north and east. That said, there are only 4 demons in the room right now. 1 is chasing Ita over near the east entrance. The others are slowly kind of falling in line. That means that you are coming in behind the demons, which are focused on Ita. But the order of rushing in is Duncan runs in, dwarves follow Duncan, Makka follows dwarves.
Right.
Makka, what do you do?
Is there a way for me to make my way over to Ita? Like I can see her as I come in?
Yeah, you can see her like running. She's kind of like running the perimeter. This really is one of those arena fights where you just run around in circles hoping that something will click.
Okay.
So yeah, she's within your range. Because she's like running toward you.
Okay. She's running towards me. Duncan, there's dwarven knights between me and Duncan.
Yeah.
She's running towards me.
And Duncan's running towards the demons.
Yeah. Okay. I want to meet Ita and cast Cure Wounds on her because I see she's visibly quite injured.
Yep.
We'll make that. I've already used some spell slots. Sorry. We'll make it level 1 Cure Wounds, and I'll just try and roll well. I don't know what that means. Sorry, give me 1 second.
Here, I'll make the sound of dice rolling.
Ooh.
I mean, I'm rolling dice here too. I just need to find the spell.
Okay.
4 plus 7, 11 health points back to you.
I feel slightly less broken.
And
Tyler, that's a
Knuckles-
touch spell, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's like, Ida, you're just like sprinting. And then all of a sudden there's like a cloud in the way who kind of like grabs you as you run by and just like guides you past. And as you do, your wounds start to heal up as spores spread all over you.
Yeah, it's like one hand on her as she runs by, and then I place myself between her and the demons chasing, and my shield's up and my club is out.
And I'm aware that this is Makka.
I'm not trying to hide. I'll say that.
Yeah, you can see him. He's shadowy, but he's there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Is it just a hallucination as you bleed to death? Maybe. Jacob's ladder, possibly. But like, just enjoy the ride.
For a bonus action, I'll cast Shillelagh on my mace.
Sick. Okay, so top of the round, the dwarves, Duncan, they are chasing you into the space. So I'm going to delay their action until after yours. They are ahead of you in initiative order, but given all the hijinks, it doesn't really make sense to me that they'd like somehow run you down immediately. Which brings us to Ita. You can feel your ribs knitting back together. Enough so that when you run, they aren't poking your lungs anymore. This is a nice step up.
It is, yeah, it's nice.
But the situation has changed quite considerably. What do you do?
Well, I think too now I've got Makka and Duncan between me and the demons now.
Yep.
So I can help a little bit. I think I will just I kind of like feeling like, oh, suddenly a little bit healthier. I just kind of basically turn on my foot and just utter like oblivion in their direction, and cast confounding theorem on them. So intelligence saving throw, DC 14.
All four of them fail. One of them rolled a crit fail.
Oh, that's nice. So that so 12 damage, 12 psychic damage.
Whew.
Wee!
Is that 12 based on a roll or just on your...
So that's just on the dice.
On the dice? Great. Okay, go ahead and roll those dice again for the one who got a crit
Oh,
fail.
right. Oh, nice. 17.
Ugh. All right, so the one chasing you that you've been analyzing is looking pretty rough. Very rough. You can see that coming from a different plane of existence, questions of oblivion and that sort of thing are like real practical there. So the demon seems to be legitimately having an existential crisis. It's like halfway through a Wes Anderson movie. Bringing us to Duncan. Bunch of demons. Ida seems to be somewhat out of immediate danger. Dwarves are chasing you. How do you get them to engage
I've got
the demons?
Demons in front of me, dwarves behind me, Ida and Tortle behind dwarves?
Kind of off to the left of the demons. So like if you're running at the demons, off to the left of them, you've got Makka and Ita, because Ida was doing a lap. The demons are turning to chase her, realizing other shit is happening. The dwarves are rushing in behind you.
Great. I will charge the demons. They seem the most evil, which sort of appeals to Duncan, because I think there's a part of him that's just like, corrupt dwarves and demons. I can kill everyone in here. And then he'll charge the front rank of the demons. Just whichever one's closest to the dwarves. I feel like he wants the demons to just steer towards dwarves. Is his big goal.
Nice. All right, so you've got the one who's like the slowest. We'll say that off this demon's tail, he's got like a really badass, vicious looking, like it's halfway between like a small anchor and like a scythe. Like it looks like a badass weapon. However, it is metal on a tail that isn't strong. So this demon is like running slowly, like dragging this cool tail. And you can hear it muttering in infernal, something that sounds roughly to your ear like, this was a bad idea. Dad was right.
So Duncan will dash forwards, and then with the bone rapier, it'll just be a slash across the eye, because we've established canonically this one has one that looks crossed, and then down and just trying to kind of the spine of the tail. If he can like sever across there, will be his kind of two slashes. I'm assuming he wouldn't have advantage. The demon knows he's there. Or does he have advantage?
Let me roll. I rolled really badly on my perception check, so we're going to say the demon is not aware. The demon is solely focused on Ita.
Great. So the first one is a 24 to hit, and the next one is also a 24 to hit.
Yes, both of those will hit. Surprise, surprise.
Beautiful. And then That is 13 damage total, which is, of course, magical and piercing and shit, because it's a rapier made of bone with a spooky skull hilt. And then at the same time, I will use a swashing point, because now I've led one side towards the other, and use a skill that I have called Fall Back, because they don't have names, so I wanted to have sexier names than just swashing abilities, which means I can use the disengage action and move my full movement distance as a bonus action. So I'm sprinting and leading the dwarfs at the demons, get the demons' attention, and then I would like to essentially leap and roll to end up beside Makka over on the side of the room. And then what I would like to yell at the dwarves is, "Oh, you boys forgot about the details, and the devils are in the details," as they just smash into the demons.
Amazing. So that happens. Mortal Kombat. It's pretty exciting. Makka, Ita, and Duncan, I'm going to say with the Demon Knights and the demons clashing, you actually have a chance to escape. Or you can stay and try and deal with this. I assume you're heading back to the teleport pad, even though you don't know how they work, or would you try and go through one of these other tunnels, scale the walls? What do you think is your way out?
I think Duncan would steer them back to the way they came in, because at least we know with the Demon Knights there, the Demon Knights were not expecting demons from behind them. So, like, here's the new front.
Yep.
Yeah.
Take the package, as you would think of Ita in terms of security, out of the war zone.
Great. As you begin to rush back, a zombie revenant stumbles out of the cavern towards you. The undead, blown open head, lolling, tongue loose, as this shambling armored corpse begins to stumble towards you.
Only
with
Duncan knew more.
a demon knight behind it, just screaming, "Oh, containment breach! Containment breach!" and running away, screaming.
Not using the teleporter?
No.
Okay, that says something to Makka.
I think Duncan would immediately, it'd be that skull like fist guard, just bam into the Revenant's face. Like, he just needs to knock it aside to get past. Also, he doesn't know if a rapier will kill a zombie.
Yeah. Gwendolyn, you see a skull hilt coming for your face. What do you attempt to do in this situation?
I have a panicked moment of like, oh no, like they have no idea that it's me. So I kind of go through like, okay, what can I do? What can I do to make them know it's me? And I just try with all my might to like lift a foot and put it on Duncan's if I can, to step on his foot.
Oh, wow. Okay. I think, this is going to be so brutal. I'm so sorry.
I know.
I think this is probably a sleight of hand, because you're trying to do a quick, fast maneuver through like you're trying to be dexterous while wearing an oven mitt.
Yeah. While trying to avoid a slash. Yeah. 6.
Laura, I'm going to give you a very, very gentle devil's bargain on this.
Gentle. Fuck you.
That's not the tone you want before he said the terms.
I will give you advantage if you're willing to take the hit. But in order to do that, I'm going to need you to roll, I think, insight. So if you want that option, you'll need to pass an insight check.
I was saying, because Laura, the insight would be Duncan is planning on cold cocking you, not stabbing you in the face. But you'd have to spot
well, actually, more importantly, the insight check is for Gwendolyn to realize she actually isn't in this body. She's in the armor. So getting punched in a dead head will have very little effect on her. But as someone who flinches in VR
it's total, yeah.
Your instinct is like, oh, fuck, I'm going to get punched in the head. So the insight check is to determine whether or not you'll take the hit.
That's fair.
And then you can re-roll.
Yeah.
See, it's a nice devil's bargain.
That is nice, though. I'm sorry, Tom. I take that back.
Oh, it's okay. I'm going to kill Ida next round. You won't believe how many more things she can fall off of.
Okay.
He's gonna fall into a different game and kill a different beloved character in that game.
Yeah.
I really
Just
like
gonna fall
Ida.
on Schwartz. and
17.
17. Okay, yes. You realize that you are not like it's an act of will, because I think conceptually your sort of field of vision is still somewhere near the face. But you just accept the hit. And you can roll again as the hilt cracks into the side of the already decimated head, folding it in half.
It's even worse. 4.
You step right between his legs, missing both feet entirely. Duncan, you clock the dwarf, and rather than the body falling to the side as you'd expect, the head implodes and the body stomps between your legs, sort of like grounding itself as if to prevent your exit.
Okay. At this point, he would kick out the leg that's between his and try to just shove it over on the side. Like basically like to hip toss the zombie.
Gotcha.
So we can get Ida out of this fucking war zone.
I'm going to need an opposed check, please. I need both of you to roll athletics.
13.
3.
Duncan, you've never tried to hip check a dwarf anywhere. Turns out, not a good play. You go to throw the dwarf. The body is solid. That said, Ita and Makka, if you saw Duncan going toe to toe with a single opponent, would you stop or would you run by?
I'd run by for now. He hasn't taken any hits. He's a duelist. Yeah, Makka knows that Duncan can take care of himself, so he would keep going to get Ita away from the danger.
Cool. So, and Ita, I assume you would also run by?
If she tried to stop, Duncan would just be yelling at her.
I mean, no, I think Ida has somewhat of a sense of like these people just saved me, so
right. But if Makka, I'm sorry, I don't mean like running away. I mean Makka is like trying to escort you past this.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'll go. I mean, like I'll take Makka's lead for sure. Okay. Yeah.
So the two of you sprint by. Duncan, can you roll a perception check, please?
Ooh, my perception is not good, but that roll was all right. That's a 19.
You notice that the Revenant does nothing to stop them.
That doesn't make any goddamn sense. Oi, what the fuck are you? He says as he like steps back, and it's one of those like cape over shoulder, rapier up, and some sort of overly artsy, definitely drawn by an Italian swordsmaster in a 15th century pose.
Except wearing a mankini and I believe sunglasses around the back of your head. Yes,
correct.
Okay, I
with newly frosted tips.
What I do is I kind of like try to shuffle back, and then I fall prone on the ground, like face first, and start shoveling like dirt and shit, like rock debris towards where my face would be.
Into the mashed, like
exactly. Be like
mess of head.
And I'm kind of like hands up, like
holy shit, are you the princess?
And I kind of shake myself like this would be me nodding. Like
and Duncan can hear demon knights fighting demons around the corner, and he can't help himself. He's like, did Karen do this to you somehow?
I shake again.
I'm gonna fucking kill her. Get up. It's like, we gotta get you out of here.
At which point, the dwarf who ran away, Ida and Makka, you see her rushing back and like back up the tunnel with a determined look on her face and the distinctive hiss of a fuse. She's running like she's aiming to like book it past you. But it would seem that she is carrying and is like carrying an armful of explosives.
It sounds like.
Yes.
Explosives.
She just keeps yelling, close the breach, close the breach.
Do you think I can still use my hellish rebuke?
You're there.
As Gwendolyn or as...
Gwendolyn.
I'm gonna say you're tied up. This is happening as Gwendolyn and Duncan are having their tete-a-tete or pulpy neck hole. This is a Duncan and Ita, a Makka and Ita problem.
Okay. Damn it.
Would you just let her pass? What's the play here?
Oh, she's looking like she's gonna run past us. Yes.
Yeah, you get the sense that she's likely she's going to go collapse the entrance to this tunnel.
I don't want anyone blowing anything up right now. Just this second.
I understand.
That is a good way to feel in a mind.
What do you do?
Hang on, let me look at this spell. Oh God, these fucking.
Yeah.
Welcome to the silent, personal work section of our game, where everybody just works on a personal project.
This is called panic time. It's when a character's time goes even fucking longer than usual, which is the character and player are panicking. So time slows to a fucking still. This is slower than the Matrix shit.
This doesn't even help.
Use the bat.
I'll let her run past then, and try and I'll double back and get Duncan just to like get us away from them, away from person with the bombs.
So basically, as a bunch of things happen all at once, Duncan, you scream like, "I'm gonna fucking kill Karen!" As Makka steps on the princess's back, grabs you, pulls you forward past a dwarf with an armful of explosives. And Makka, you just toss Duncan kind of like at Ita down the hall. And then I think you just fucking like turtle down. It's
I was gonna say, depending on how much time, like if I have time to run, I run. If I don't, I turtle.
Yep. You turtle. I think like you kind of just for visual flavor's sake, you Mario Kart it. You just like turtle and leap forward, like slide forward as the dwarf yells, "Seal the breach!" And the bombs detonate, blowing up, consuming the dwarf, causing a massive collapse. And Duncan, as you're tossed through the air, you look back in time to see the top of the mine entrance just collapse onto the armor as this bomb goes off. You see like chunks of it blown away, as well as the mine collapse. And Makka, you are blasted King Koopa shell style down a ways. I need everyone to please roll me a dexterity save.
I think I automatically fail.
Everyone?
Not Gwen.
Aww.
I have disadvantage on dex saves.
Actually, sorry, Tyler, I'm going to say for you then, let's make this a con save, because you're not so much trying to dodge the blast as endure the blast.
Okay,
that makes
so I have
sense.
Advantage on con saves, so I'll just flip my results.
Yeah, perfect. Great. Sorry, Laura, I cut you off.
That's okay. I got a 14.
Okay.
Ita got a 14.
22 for Duncan.
19 for Makka.
Okay. Ita, you're going to take 6 points of damage from the blast. Okay. Makka and Duncan, you'll each take 3. But
I would like to uncanny dodge.
Like Makka is just sitting there being like, "I have used every spell in my arsenal," and you're like, "Uncanny dodge, 3 damage." Wouldn't want
it cuts it down to 2.
Yeah.
It only removes half.
Oh,
rounding
boy.
down.
You know what? Down here, everything is half. So,
Right.
Because we are underground. So your toss clear, it's a classic action hero explosion thing. To be clear, like more of the entrance collapses, but you're able to kind of like move further into the mine. You pass the teleport circle, but to Makka's point, none of the runes are lit up. it seems like it's a receiving pad, not a two-way street. So instead, you make your way to kind of a safe distance as the ceiling continues to cave in before eventually it comes to a halt. Duncan, you had Gwen for a second, and then she got blowed up. Where are you at with this?
I think his mind is racing at this point because he needs to figure out the logic of what just happened. He's very angry he can't kill that dwarf. He's immediately, I feel like this is his version of fight time, is like dealing with consequences really fast, and then he seems smooth. Because I think it's not that he's a brilliant man, it's just that he comes to his decisions very fast from the same flawed workflow.
Oh, so he's on Twitter.
Yeah, pretty much. It's Jake Dorsey. I think because he's like, fuck, okay, she got kicked out of the armor, but she got into a dead guy. But I don't know anything. What I know about soul armor, because we've had talks about soul armor vaguely with Jeanette.
Yeah.
So fucking Gwendolyn's around.
Yes,
which
that
is
would
good
be
news.
A logical assumption.
Which means he doesn't have to kill anyone. And I feel like his rage at Makka would be tempered by the fact that the princess is alive to a neutral. I don't think he'd be happy because this was a fucking train wreck, but still better. I think he'd be standing perfectly still, which is very unlike him in a situation where they're still in danger, and he's not really paying attention to that. He's just standing there, and he's like, Makka, that was Makka. The corpse was the princess. The princess can get into the armor, but that was a dead person. She can get into the armor. If you kill a dwarf, does it not have a soul inside the armor? Maybe how does that work? Okay, Mark, basically short form is I need to find a way to rip Karen out of that armor and shove her into hell.
Makka emerges from his shell and just kind of like teeters to his feet after being completely like blitzed and rocked by that explosion and avalanche or cave in, and just kind of shakes his head a bit and says,
but Gwendolyn's corpse is back in the kingdom of byproduct. Her corpse is here.
Not there. She was inside the dwarf zombie thing that I was fighting. The one that you stepped over when you threw me away from her. She was in there. And then they blew her up. Now we need to find her a new body. Does anybody know what a corrupt dwarf is?
are there any... what's our new surroundings looking like, Tom?
You're just further down a tunnel. Behind you is the collapsed shaft leading into that room. It continues to curve kind of downward away from you. But basically, you're in one of those most boring of Hero Forge hallways that's just like, you're in a stony hallway. It curves around, so you can't quite see what's ahead of you. But based on just kind of a basic guess, since this part of the shaft was leading up towards that central room, leading down will take you further into the mines.
And that's the only direction we can go in currently. It's forward or backward,
Yep.
and backward just caved in.
Yep.
So Makka will say,
Is everyone all right to proceed? Are you all physically well?
Yes, Ita, how are you? Sorry, this is complicated.
I'm in a significant amount of pain and discomfort. I believe I have several broken bones.
I'll cast Cure Wounds again.
That would be most delightful.
2 and 7, 9 more HP.
I'm also quite inebriated.
I cannot help you with that.
That was incredibly unprofessional of you. Duncan says, I thought you were an accountant. Weren't you supposed to be checking the books?
Yes, but apparently my job cannot be accomplished or completed because I believe that I was meant to die here.
Yeah, unfortunately, we found proof of that. Let me show you. And he just pulls his mankini out and pulls out the letter. And then he's like, you're going to need to read this. It's going to qualify things.
You do. It does.
Oh dear, it is worse than I anticipated.
So our collective goals, I believe, are to keep the dwarfs free of the influence of your empire. he says slowly, looking at her, knowing this is a question, but not knowing how she will feel about facing off with her own empire.
I'm sorry, why are you looking at me? You seem midway through a thought.
Well, the question is, how do you feel about the Empire right now? Is this one of those, oh, what a fun challenge my psychopathic boss gave me, better go make myself a medal by killing dwarves or some shite?
If I examine the facts of the situation, they would just as soon see me not alive. Therefore, my self-preservation is kicking in quite strongly, and I do not wish to return there anytime soon, lest they finish their work.
Ita, can you roll me an insight check, please?
Yeah. 19.
19. Given what you've seen from kind of the various levels of politician you've met here, and the way the document is worded, you're not entirely sure whether this means the entire Empire of Numbers is in on this, or whether this is a faction within them. As it seemingly here, this seems to be a faction of the
That's
dwarves
fair,
in Sprangbrekh, not all of Sprangbrekh. Obviously, it might be all of Sprangbrekh, but I think a quick conversation with Duncan and Makka would reveal that President Nagata didn't seem to know or care about any of this, nor did most of the people who met you, greeted you, talked to you. So far, the only people who have been implicated in this are Weebly Straubelmeyer and Dagwood, Smithsonian, and the Demon Knights in the Mine. And you're not sure how many other Demon Knights might be, but all this to say, based on what you've seen, it could be the whole Empire, it could be a faction within the Empire, or it could just be the head of the Empire. But this isn't like a, oh shit, we got to kill the whole.
No.
Yeah.
But there is indeed corruption. Therefore, I will proceed cautiously, and I do not believe what is happening is correct from an ethical standpoint.
In the words of Final Fantasy, Chrono Trigger, and a bunch of other great games, Ita has joined the party.
All right, friends, then I believe our strategy in the short term is simple. We need to follow this path and get out of this fucking mine. It'd be better for us if we can do it unseen, because we don't know which dwarfs are involved with the conspiracy and which dwarfs aren't. We know some of the knights are, which means we got to be careful. It might be a sneak past and only stab them if they try to stab you first kind of situation. Once we get back to the surface, I want to go after all the conspirators. But
Duncan.
Yes.
Do we need to bring a dwarven corpse back here for Gwendolyn?
Possibly, but I need it to be a bad dwarf. So if we find a bad one that's close, yes, I think. It's got to have the armor, though. It can't just be a dwarf, not a random one.
I see. Well,
Makka and Duncan, can you both roll me insight checks, please?
$19 for Makka.
9 for Duncan.
Makka, you distinctly recall Gwendolyn leaving her armor during the fight with the root folk. Based on how you think about your spores kind of leaving and returning to you, it occurs to you in a way that perhaps it has not occurred to Duncan just yet, that the odds of Gwendolyn's spirit being anchored to this space seems low. If, for instance, you let off a spore cloud and then you ran away, the spores wouldn't just like hang out in the off chance you came back, they would dissipate. So I think based on your understanding of the cluster and how you would compare that to what you've seen of Gwendolyn, you think the odds are bad she's still here.
Okay. Makka will say,
we should head down this tunnel and trust that however Gwendolyn came to be here, she can find herself elsewhere, perhaps where we need her to be. Yes. There is nothing keeping her in this tunnel, especially now that her anchor,
and I gesture to the rubble,
has been utterly destroyed.
All right. Then we need to get back our armor. We need to stop the conspiracy. But most importantly, we need someone in charge who isn't involved in the conspiracy. I'll say now, Jaden Hayworth is a fucking moron, and he could absolutely be involved in anything, but I think he's too stupid to know.
We have not yet spoken to Richard the Grey either.
That would be our priority. If we can determine whether or not he's honest, then we can determine who we have to drag things before. And if we have to rig the election to put him in charge, I don't give a shite. But I need that fucking armor back. All right. We're going to focus. You two start going down the hallway. Stay sneaky. I'll be there in a minute. I just need a moment here.
Gwendolyn.
Makka nods and leaves.
Cool. Gwendolyn. Uh-oh. It exploded. The relief, the great relief you felt at finding and communicating with Duncan is somewhat not like ruined, but just a little bit impeded by the sudden loss of form and place. But the good news is he knows you're alive, and he knows Karen's up to no good. Not that that was ever really a huge concern. He kind of wanted to kill her from the minute he met her. So like, this is really just like I'm going to buy this thing. Okay. Yeah, sure. Okay, good. I already bought it. Kind of situation. But you find yourself drifting yet again. And I'm going to need you to roll me a, what is Gwendolyn's key stat?
That's Ida. I'm like, that's not right. Constitution.
Okay. I'm going to need a Constitution save. When that body was blown apart, you were already feeling like barely in control of it and crowded.
Yeah.
Based on what you've determined from bouncing off these other bodies, you could feel remnants of that dwarf's soul trapped, kind of echoing throughout the armor. And when the explosion happened, it's basically like, for lack of a better term, soul shrapnel cut through your essence. So I need a pretty big con save from you to stay together, as it were.
To stay a character?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, no. 10.
All right. I have a counter here of 3. If it gets to 0, you dissipate. You are now down to 2.
Okay.
Don't question my devil's bargains, you motherfucker. Nah, I'm kidding. This is a mechanic I've had since we started, but hadn't had a chance to use it yet because you didn't get the glove blown up.
Remember like 3 years ago when I just used to take every single devil's bargain?
Yeah.
Those were the days.
For the record, you still took this one. I can't think of many you've turned down.
Yeah, but it was a good one.
It's true. It's true. This one actually had no consequence other than just self-awareness.
Yeah.
The devil was knowing yourself. Gwendolyn, it's a little bit like that state where you're falling asleep and like you're still thinking, but it's getting a bit foggier and like you miss parts of it, and then suddenly you're like, oh wait, I listen to audiobooks when I fall asleep, so there are often times when I kind of like drift back in and I'm like, how are they on an airplane now? Oh, I've been asleep for 20 minutes. I should stop. But it's deeply alarming to you because so far, even after being crushed as the koi, you still felt very much like a coherent thing. But with this damage, you realize that your hold on this reality is somewhat tenuous. And you think back to your sweet, familiar friend on the road and how he slowly faded away after leading you to the Shadowlands. Can't remember his name right now, but he was adorable. He was that sweet dog
cute
guy. But you think briefly of him and the plight of the familiars and how it might, in a weird way, echo here for you now.
Are we talking Toby from the convoy?
Toby,
Yes, Toby,
that's it.
thank
I was
you.
looking through my notes.
Yeah, we are talking Toby. Welcome to Toby Talks, where we talk Tobies. All right, so you find yourself adrift yet again. I think based on the roll and the damage you just took, rather than like where do you go next? It's just a moment of like trying to fucking kind of pull yourself back together as you drift further and further into the mine yet again. Just watching all the hard-fought progress you made slip quickly away. Gwendolyn, what's going through your head as this happens?
There's definitely just like I was so goddamn close. Goddamn fucking turtle! I'm gonna give him a piece of my mind. Frickin' step on me. Push Duncan away. Yeah, fucking fuck.
We continue to hear Gwendolyn cursing away as she drifts further and further into the depths.
This episode of Curse Code and Crowd Sound was mixed and edited by Laura Hamstra, and the campaign was created by Tom McGee. Our original theme music was composed by Landon Knoblock, and Curse Code and Crown's logo was created by the brilliant Decapitated Markers. If you want to follow our players or our DM on Twitter, you can reach out to Laura at EL Hamstring, Ryan at the Ryan LaPlante, Tyler at Tyler_Hewitt, Tom McGee at McGeeTD, or you can message our whole company at DumDumDice. So please, join us again for more Curse, Code, and Crown!
Dum-Dums and Dice has to give a special thank you to the supreme beings of our Patreon at this time. Christian Menicola, Long, The Half-Blind Prophet, James Cuellar, Charles Grams, Christopher Little, Sue One, George Dolby, One True Artistry, Orion Birchfield, Lord of Bradovic, Noel Lewis, Scott Garland, Anthony Griffin, Chet Awesome Laser, Jordan Neesmith, Benjamin V, Gavin and Abby McDonald, Taryn Hefner, Cade Peters, Richard Cranium, Christian Mendez, Anna Zed, and Jill and Noel LaPlante. If you want your name to be added to this list, you can join our Patreon too at patreon.com/dumdumdice. Thanks to them, and a little bit of thanks to you.